Number 7, it says rewrite it in terms of cosine. I'm going to say rewrite it in terms of cosine and or sine. I'll change the directions for that on the test. Two different ways you can do this. The first way, cosecant squared minus 1, you can rearrange one of the Pythagorean identities and convert that to cotangent squared. So if that's cotangent squared, this other one, 1 minus cosine squared, again, that's another rearrangement of a Pythagorean identity. That's the same as sine squared. Cotangent squared, you could also rewrite as cosine squared over sine squared. And if we're multiplying that by sine squared, the sine squareds can cancel out. We're left with just cosine squared times 1, so that just ends up being cosine squared of theta. The other option that I would say is probably the quickest of the other of the two quickest options, changing cosecant squared to 1 over sine squared, leaving that minus 1 alone. And then if we convert the 1 minus cosine squared to, sine squared, just like we did in the previous step, or the previous version of this. So now we have 1 over sine squared minus 1 times sine squared. If we distribute that sine squared to both pieces, 1 over sine squared times sine squared just gives us 1. Minus 1 times sine squared is sine squared. Now again, same thing we talked about in the previous one, on the previous one. 1 minus sine squared is the same thing as a reciprocal identity. We end up with just cosine squared of theta.